Patrick Cook here. So thanks for joining me in this next session of our Mandelbulb 3D Animation Tutorial Series. What are we at, number 9 now? Alright, so in the last session we were talking about file management. In the last session we talked about the let's take a look here over at the preferences. We talked about the any directories and setting up your default directories. And we do have our default directories right here, and there is the address to the directory. So that's all set. Now, we want to talk about saving the files. Now we've got two formats of the files that we can save. One is called an m3i. The I stands for image, and we also have an m3p. The P stands for parameters. Now what this basically means is that if you save your Mandelbulb work as an m3i, it will actually save all of your properties all of the formula properties, as well as the lighting. Well, let's close that. Okay, as well as the lighting, and it will also save the image. All right. It will basically, when you open up an m3i, it will restore your formulas, lighting, various PostScript settings, of course, and it will also immediately restore your view. All right, now let's save that as an m3i, and I'm just going to come in here. Save as m3i. All right, and there's our m3i extension. So let's save that. That went into our default folder. Now, we can save it as an m3p, p meaning parameters, which means that we're going to save all the formula parameters, all right? We're also going to save all the lighting. We're going to save all the PostScript. Everything's the same. The difference is that we don't save the view, the image. The file will not contain the image. That's significant, as we're going to find out here in a few minutes. Now, let's save as an m3p, and I'll just do that. All right. Okay, so now we have an m3i and we have an m3p file. The m3i has the image. The m3p only has the everything else other than the image. Now let's prove it here. We're going to stop the software. We're going to reopen it again, and this is only to prove that we're actually opening up the file. So if I do an open of an m3i, I went to my default directory because I had set that up in preferences, m3i, and you'll notice here, because this is an m3i, I meaning image, all of my properties came in for all the formulas, all the lighting, as well as the image. All right, now let's open up an m3p, which would not have the image. I'm going to open up the MP3, open it. Now you'll notice here that I get all of my properties, all right, lighting, formulas, everything, but I don't actually get my view. I have to render that. Press calculate 3D to render. So I have to render that at that time. So it basically comes down to saving your Mandelbulb image as with an image, a view, or without. Let's take a quick look here and see what the differences in the file sizes are. Now look at that. So an m3i is 6.331 megabytes versus an MP3 of 2 kilobytes. So you can see here where it adds up pretty quick. The only benefit that I'm aware of in saving as an m3i, that's with the image, is the fast reload when you reopen the file. And the trade-off is a much bigger Mandelbulb 3D storage file. But it really is, it's entirely up to you. With an MP3, of course, you need to recalculate it. With an m3i, the view comes in, you're all set to go. It really depends upon your work preferences. Now let's talk about another type of save here. All right, so back on the Save tab. Now I also have a JPEG plus P, and the P stands for an m3p file format. So if I do a JPEG, now I'm going to say down here, save with JPEG. How's that? All right, my default directory. I could save it somewhere else if I wanted to, but I'm going to save it in my default directory. Save. Let's see what I got here. Let's go back over to view large. It's fine. Now I have my JPEG file. All right, that's cool. Plus I have an MP3 file. Now the MP3 file obviously is only going to give me my parameters, all my properties without the view, and the JPEG will give me a view. So this is a way for you to be able to save the files as you go along in the project. So if I was to let's say I want to modify. Let's modify this. Let's there we go. Let's really mess up the graphic here. Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. So I got to push that back to main. I got to recalculate it. All right. Now you see here that my Formula 1, my scale has been changed to 2.725. Formula 1, 2.725. Now let's save this, but let's save it as a JPEG plus an MP3. And I'm going to do something like this. I'm going to say version 2. Or I could say step 2, or whatever I want. All right, now what I've got here is, let's just get big icons. Here we go. So I can visually see, just by looking in my File Explorer, that I have a version 2. This is what the graphic looks like. And I have a version 1. And if I wanted to, I could open up the appropriate MP3. And what I can do is grab it and drop it and recalculate. And I have just opened up my first version. And let's say I went on to my second version, drag and drop the MP3, recalculate, and there's my version 2. So this is a pretty good way of keeping track of your progress as you move through the project. If you go down a path that you didn't like, let's say that this version 2 was just no good, I don't want it, didn't work out, what you can do is revert back to your first one, recalculate that, and if you're pretty sure that this was a bad path, just come in here and delete them. All right? So this file management is an interesting way to be able to kind of track your progress as you move along. All right, so I think that'll do it for this session. Please join me in the next session where we'll continue our discussion of the Mandelbulb 3D animation software, and I'll see you there.